Let's study 10th Standard ICSE English Literature, Story 8, The Blue Bead by Nora Brooke. This story is about human courage, the ability to face a crisis against all odds. It's also a story about human poverty, the struggles of poor people, especially those living in remote areas like near the jungles. The story starts off with a description about a crocodile, a ferocious animal. Its entire life journey from childhood to the adulthood. It has now become twice as long as a human being and can easily kill a human being. Next, we read about a particular community living in the jungle, and one of them is Sibia. She's a young teenager, but she's called a child woman because she does the labor work which adult women usually do. She had the fortune to visit the marketplace on a few occasions. That's when she could see the luxuries like silk cushions, the fragrance of sweets and delicious food, which she never could possess. The only possession she had was a rag cloth. She was so poor, her family was so poor, that she would break her chapati into various pieces so that it could seem more in quantity. She would often starve with insufficient food. She had just one dream. She wanted a necklace. And a simple one. She had planned that she could simply make a hole in a seed with a hot needle and put a string around it and wear it. But she couldn't even do that because the family needle was broken and they didn't have money to buy a new needle. So her dream was unfulfilled. Now the incident happened when Sibia, along with her mother and company, crossed the river, and there was no bridge. They had to cross it on the rocks across the river. And they climbed rocks and a cliff. They would collect grass called paper grass so that they could sell it to some dealer and the paper factory could make paper out of it. Sibia was unperturbed by all the things she saw in the marketplace. She was unmoved. She did not have any desire for these luxuries. She was born and brought up in the jungle area. So she was used to the hardships and the dangers of wildlife. Now when the women returned, Sibia was left behind. She was trying to just play with some of the things out there. And she heard a shriek. One of the Gujar women, the Gujar community also lived in the jungle area and they had an encampment out there. So one of these women was caught by the crocodile. The first thing Sibia noticed was how her pots were floating away on the river. Sibia felt sad, not just because the Gujar woman's life was in danger, but also because her pots were now gone. And you see, these small possessions are very precious for the poor people. Now, Sibia took a decision in a heartbeat. She did not hesitate. She rushed to save the Gujar women. She jumped on the rocks like a goat would and reached the spot. She had a hay fork in her hands, a long hay fork with pointed prongs. Now the crocodile could easily have killed her with a lash with its tail, which would be so powerful. But the crocodile missed, fortunately. And Sibia had the presence of mind to attack the crocodile at the right spot with the hay fork. The crocodile's skin was so thin that even a bullet could not pierce it. But even mugger crocodiles have a couple of weak spots, underarm and the eye. So Sibia aimed at the eye and one of the prongs pierced the eye. The crocodile shivered in pain and fell into the water and it disappeared. That's how Sibia had saved her life, the Gujar woman's life, from the crocodile who had snatched the woman's leg and was not letting her go. Now she pulled the Gujar woman out of the river, onto the banks of the river. She attended to the wounds of the Gujar woman, tied a cloth around the wound, and escorted her to the encampment, where the other people, the men, then helped her get to the hospital, which was far away. Sibia came back to the riverbanks to collect her hay fork. She was relieved that it was still there and had not flown away with the river, because it is a very precious possession for her livelihood. But just then, as if rewarded for her brave deed, she saw a blue bead in the waters. This was actually nothing but the neck of a glass bottle which had been eroded by the water and it had become smooth like a bead with a hole. She got the idea that she could simply put a string through it and use it as a necklace. She was delighted by this thought and she took it home. And while she was going home late, she did not worry about the various dangers of the jungle, the elephants and the snakes and the malaria mosquitoes, because this was usual for these people. And when she reached home, her mom scolded her, of course, because she had been searching for her. She asked her, why was she late? Did something happen? And Sibia revealed to her that yes, something did happen. She had found a blue bead for the necklace. The blue bead was clearly like a treasure for her. She was more excited about sharing that news rather than her encounter with the crocodile, the way heroically she had saved the Gujar women's life, which seemed like a part and parcel of their lives in the jungle.
Press the like button. If you would like to enroll for my online test series or online lectures, email me or message me on Instagram. Check the description for more information.